Hey guys, Kevin from Panther Lights here. First of all, I want to send a huge shout out and thank you for pre-ordering your set of Elite Series fog lights for the Mercury Marauder. You did order a set, right? Right. Now, I know you're eager to get these installed, and I'm here to guide you step by step. Some of the things that you're going to need is a set of wire strippers, a wrench or a ratchet with an 11mm socket, a pair of needle nose pliers, a pair of wire cutters, the fog lights themselves, your wiring, as well as all of the mounting hardware. And if you pre-ordered the plug and play connection kit, grab that as well. Now let's start with opening your bag with all of your mounting hardware in it and the provided female H11 plug. Let's put the mounting hardware to the side and open the connector. Now you'll see here that we have the female H11 connector. You have 2 rubber grommets and 2 of the pins that are going to be inserted inside of the connector. So let's start with where you're going to connect. Now I want to be clear about something. You can skip this entire step if you opt in for the plug and play connection kit. And as you see, when you take your connector that plugs in the back of the fog light, this connection right here will get plugged in directly to the plug and play connection kit. And you'll see that you have your male and female, and you just connect the two and then plug this into the other end on the car. Now for those of you who didn't purchase the plug and play connection kit, this section is going to show you detailed step by step how to modify your harness to get connected to the fog lights. So what I did is grab a pigtail that I'm going to use to represent the factory harness on your car. So right here is going to be the plug that you disconnected from your fog lights. Now we're going to start with our wire cutters, and we're going to just cut off the end where we're left with a little bit of wire here to work with. Next, grab your wire strippers, and in this case I have a set of automatic strippers where I'm going to set the depth, connect these in here, and strip. And you'll see you're left with 2 bare wires. Now, you're not going to have to do this, but I am going to peel back some of this sleeving here so that way we have some extra wires to work with. And next, what you're going to do is take your little rubber grommets and insert the wire through the hole on the big end like this. So next, you're going to take your pin and you're going to lay the wire where the wire itself will lay inside right between these little teeth here. There's 6 little teeth, 3 on each side. Now grab your set of needle nose pliers and carefully fold those 6 pins over top of the wire itself in both directions. And then you're left with something like that, okay? So now that the wire is crimped, you're also going to have to crimp the base so it can hold onto the rubber sleeving of the wire. Same exact thing, take your needle nose pliers and just bend them inward to wrap around the wire itself. And then you're left with something like this. Now some of you may actually have the tool to do this in one swing. Unfortunately, this is not something that I think everybody will have, which is why I end up going for a set of needle nose pliers. So I'll go ahead and do that to the other side and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now that you have the pins fully installed, you'll take a look here on the back side of each one of these pins. There's a little spring. You want to make sure that these springs are facing outward against the sides of your new connector. So when you're going to install them, face the spring towards the hook on the side of the connector and you'll hear a nice little click. Like so. Do that to the other side and you're good to go. We're going to now lift up the rubber grommets and put them inside of this connector on the bottom. This is going to help ensure that no water or any other debris can get inside of there to corrode the connectors and then obviously causing issues down the road. Now what I like to do in this case to make sure that they're in there, grab your needle nose pliers and give it a little push from underneath. And that way they have a full seal all the way in. And then lastly, take your last little piece from the connection kit. You're going to slide the wires through the sides like this and then push it all the way up. And now your connector is ready to be plugged into the fog light. Okay, so now that we have the connector fully installed, we can go ahead and move on to the mounting hardware. All right, so what you're left with is the mounting bracket, 4 nuts, 4 bolts, and 4 nylon spacers. This part's a little tricky, but what you're going to do is grab your bracket and insert the 4 bolts through the 2 innermost center holes, like so. Next, with one hand, hold up the bracket and carefully slide on the nylon spacers onto each one of these bolts. Now, grab your fog light and slide all 4 of these bolts through the 2 holes on the side of the fog light. And as I said, this part is a little tricky, so sometimes it takes a little bit of finagling here. But as you can see, I got 3 out of the 4 on the first try. We'll slide in this spacer here and push through the bolt. Now that we have that resting like this, grab your locking nuts and thread them onto the bolt and tighten them all the way down with your wrench or socket. All right, now that the hardware is fully installed and secured to the fog light, you're ready to install it on the car. And you'll see here that there are 2 holes on the top and bottom of the other bolts that we inserted on the bracket. These are the holes that your fog light is going to adapt to the mounting points on the Mercury Marauder itself. So once you go ahead and get this fully mounted onto the bumper, now it's time to hook it up. So grab your connector from Diode Dynamics, insert it into the back of the fog light, like so. If you did not purchase the plug-and-play connection kit, you'll take the harness that you modified, which is what this is for us, and you'll insert it into the H11 male connector on here. Once you make that connection, give it a test. If it does not work, disconnect this plug, flip it over, and plug it back in. Now, if you did purchase the plug-and-play connection kit, this is where it's a little bit different. Same thing goes, you're going to still plug it in and rotate it if it doesn't work, just like before. The difference is, you'll see there's another connector on the other side, and it looks like this. You'll want to take your factory connector and follow it all the way back until you find a plug that looks like this. Disconnect that plug and plug this one into it, and you're ready to go. There is one other step if you decide that you want to use the amber backlight feature, but this is purely optional for those of you who don't like that appearance or just don't want to use it in general. But for those of you who do want to hook up the amber backlight, I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. But first, we're going to grab the harness that's in the baggie, and you'll see that we have a amp connector on one end and a male spade connector on the other. So we're going to take the amp connectors, one from behind the fog light, the other from the harness, and make that connection until you hear a satisfying click. And then the next step is you're going to run this wire all the way up to your marker lights and connect the wire to the constant hot wire that's on the turn signal bulb. And by doing that, every time that you turn your marker lights on, or if you have it on auto, every time the marker lights come on, the amber backlight will illuminate inside of the fog light. And that's it. At this point, you're fully installed and ready to go. If you didn't pick up your set of the Elite Series fog lights, the link is in the description below. And if you have any questions or any other issues during installation, feel free to reach out to me at info@pantherlights.com or leave a question in the comments section below. And if you found this video useful in any way, please like the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'm working really hard at growing this community, and I hope you're willing to join us. Thank you for checking out the video, and thank you again for your interest in the Elite Series fog lights for your Mercury Marauder.